Today I'll be showing you how to construct a T-halving, which is for your assignment 001, constructing halving joints. Before starting our assignment, we must make sure we are wearing the correct safety equipment. Must have a high visibility vest on, pair of steel toe cap boots, and then when you're chiseling, a pair of safety glasses. So the tools we require for this task, most importantly, pencil, steel ruler, a bench hook which can go into the vise and be tightened up so it's secure, a tenon saw, a marking gauge, a bevel chisel, tri-square, a mallet, a drill with a pre-drill bit in there, and a drill with a posi end. Materials for this task: you'll need your timber, you'll need a pot of glue, and a 4x30 screw. Now our next stage is to cut our timber to length. Now you never want to guarantee that the already cut end on the timber is going to be square, so you want to cut your end first. But I've already checked this one and I know it's square, so I'm going to mark from that edge across using my steel rule. So I flush that with the edge here, mark along 150 millimeters, a little pencil line. Now do the rest with the tri-square. You want to ensure that your square on this section is touching the timber. If it ends up being slightly off, you end up being off square. So make sure that lines up, and then with your pencil line as well. Once that is, you can mark your line across. Remove that away and you can see that there. But also transfer your pencil line down both edges of the timber as well. Now why we do this is when you put it into your bench hook, you can then see if you're sawing slightly on an angle or not. Once you pop that onto your bench hook, I would line it up with the block on the end, because then you can use your tenon saw and put it against that block to help with lining up that cut to start off with. Now you can hold your timber onto your bench hook like this, or if you find it easier, get a clamp that goes on there instead. Now I've just lined it up with the side of my bench hook. I'm just going to do a couple of small drags back to get the saw started. The reason why we do that is I've now got a groove for my saw to sit into, and then I can start flowing with my cut. Now what is important with this is ensuring that you are cutting to the waist side of the line. If you notice there, I can just see my line there and my saw blade is just the other side of it. If you were to cut on that line, you then end up being slightly too short, because the thickness of a saw blade will then be what it is lost on its overall length. So always important to cut on the waist side of the line. So as you continue to cut, you can bring the saw back down flatter and just let the saw do the work. Don't try and push it too hard. And as you're cutting down, you can stop halfway through and just double check on your line whether you're going down that line perfectly or not. And then if you notice it's off, you can then just slightly adjust your saw cut to suit. Once cut to length, that is now ready for marking out. So I've cut my bit at 150 mil, and off camera I've cut my piece at 200 mil. This is the top piece of the T-halving, and this is the upright piece which goes over the top piece half and half, which I'll show you how to do in a second. So first of all, we now on our 200 mil piece need to work out where the center is so that we can put this upright piece perfectly in the middle. Now we have 200 millimeters there. We want to minus off from 200 mil, we want to minus off 44 mil, which is this width here, which leaves us with 156. Now 156 is both those sides added together, so we want to divide that by 2, which gives us 78 millimeters either side. So with our ruler, we can mark 78 millimeters from that point. We can then mark our 44 millimeters from that, which we should then be left with 78 on the end there. Again, we can now square these lines across on there and on there. Just to double check, you can always get your piece of timber that it is going into it and just place it on top and check that your pencil lines look correct on both sides. You'll find if you end up getting that out and you can see your pencil line that much, then you've got a bit of a problem with the marking out and you need to just double check again. Once we're at this stage, we also need to mark down the sides here, because we will be using this as a guide for how far down we go half and half on each side. So I'll just mark those. Now we have 32 millimeters here, so we need to set our marking gauge up to suit half of 32 millimeters, which is 16 mil. So this is a marking gauge and a mortise gauge. The marking gauge is the single point and the mortise gauge is on the double point. Now we don't need that side, we just need to focus on the marking gauge. Now because we've established this is 32 mil and half of it's 16, we need to set with our ruler this point up to 16 mil. Once you've got that, you can lock that off. Just double check that it's bang on 16 mil, and you want to do it to the point, not to the edge of the pin, because if you go to the edge of the pin, you see the point comes in, it will lose sort of its size. So you want to make sure that the point is bang on 16 mil, which that is. Now that's set, but every time you adjust it, etc., it could slightly move. So it is worth double checking, but there is another way to double check. You get your timber and you place it on this face of the marking gauge, push it against there, and then you want to just sort of pivot it on and stab a little hole into it. Once you've made that mark, you can turn it around and do the same again, and then you can see if you're slightly out with your halving joint. Now in my case, I am very, very close, but still could do with slightly adjusting that. So I'm just going to undo it and get the pin to be perfectly in between the two dented marks. And again, lock it off. Check it again, check on both sides and see if it lines in. Now you can see my pin perfectly lines in the original dent. So that is now half and half. You will now use this to mark between your two lines the first part of your halving joint. So you mark it on one side, colour it in so it makes it a bit easier to see. Just rub that mark out. Then we turn it over and exactly the same again. Now to make sure you don't make any mistakes when cutting, we want to cut away this section, and it's always best to mark it out so you don't make mistakes. Same on this side, and then halfway down again on this side. So it is now obvious to us that is where we're cutting. Bring that back down to your bench hook, grab your tenon saw, and exactly the same way you cut last time, up against your block, cut on the inside of the line because it's the waste side. That's the side you want to get rid of. So there's your line, you come slightly in. Couple of little drags back to get that started, and then start your cut. Once you get to the point where you've got your marking gauge line, that's where you want to stop. And if we look on the other side, I've stopped on there as well. So you want to repeat this over to this side, but remember, towards the waste side. So this time it's the other way. So now once you're cut and you're down to those lines, you want to add several more cuts into here, and we call this a relief cut. Now the reason for this is when it comes to chiseling, that will then come away a lot easier if you have a few relief cuts. I'll just demonstrate how to do this now. As you can see, one cut very close to the other one. Now I'm going to repeat this all the way along. So once you've completed all your relief cuts, it will make it a lot easier to chisel. And I'll show you exactly how now. So you want to pop your top section into your vise, make sure it's locked in there. Grab hold of your chisel and your mallet, and if you pop your chisel in the first groove, and then you can tap like that, and all these little pieces just come out. The end two just need a tiny bit more. And as you can see, when it comes to chiseling, most of the work's been done for you. There's a few extra bits that I need to take off, but those lines act as a perfect guide for the depth that you need to go to make sure you stay half and half. So as you're chiseling, you can use those lines as a guide to make sure you don't go too deep. Now as you can see, I've got a few lines still there. I just need to go a little bit deeper because I'm not quite down on my line on both sides just yet, but I'm getting close. If you notice, I am chiseling with the grain. If you try to go this way, as you come through, you'll break out the back and it will split. So now that is pretty close. A few little bits that I will just neaten up. There we go. That is the top section of your T-halving complete. With your top section complete, it is now time to add your T-piece into your T-halving. Now to mark this out, if you make sure you're flush at the top, then you can mark a little line where that join starts and finishes. Take that away, use your tri-square to mark that line perfectly, transfer it around on all three sides, so you know you're getting rid of that section. You can then use your marking gauge again to mark half and half, exactly the same process as you did last time. A little bit more difficult on end grain to keep it nice and straight, but take your time. You can do it in a few passes, it doesn't have to be done perfectly on its first go. It's the same again, just colour that in with the pencil. Makes it a lot easier to see that line. And again, we're getting rid of that side, so mark it on the top and both sides. Once you're up to this stage, we can now cut this away. So pop it into your vise, grab your tenon saw, and you'll notice your tenon saw will quite nicely sit in the groove made by the marking gauge. So start off again, a few little drag backs like that, and then get your saw cutting, ensuring you stop at that line. And then you can check it on both sides, make sure you are down to that line. If you are, pop your bench hook back in the vise, and then you're cutting away this section down to your middle point that you've marked out. As you get to the end, you'll notice it'll get easier, and then the bit will break away, just like that. So you now have a section that's perfectly half and half. That should now marry quite nicely into here. It needs to be, just like that. But we need to still secure this by putting a screw in. The best way to do that is push your T-halving together, draw a line corner to corner, which then gives you the central point to put your screw. Now we're ready for assembly. We need to get our glue and we need to pop it on the joins. Now what I tend to use is a scrap bit of timber to spread that around to make sure it's on every single surface. So you would like this to be on both these edges as well. The reason for that is it adds a lot more strength to the join if you have glue on every edge. Like that. So now you have this glued, you can place your upright piece into your halving joint, grab your screw, pop that in the hole, make it start it off by just screwing it in slightly, then get your posi drill, line that up on the top, and then you put that screw in. Just like that. Now that is nicely secure. You can clean off the glue. I would suggest you get a bit of paper towel or something. And then you have a perfectly made T-halving. A way to check this now before it's handed in is it must be within certain tolerances. So it must be 200 millimeters long, 150 millimeters length in its upright once it's glued together. It must be perfectly central in between the two, and it must be flush, so the joint to be completely flat with no lumps and bumps on there. All of those things is what we look out for when we're assessing your T-halving.